by fear. Hi, collective. So this message is in reference to perhaps suffering from anxiety, either a real disorder that you've been diagnosed with, or trying to make decisions, and for whatever reason it causes you a lot of anxiety. So what happens? Well, for the one that is suffering from a clinical anxiety, well, if you've been diagnosed, obviously that means that I'm not talking to you directly, in that you have to take your medication if that's what you've been prescribed. If you've been diagnosed and know this, then hopefully you have a psychologist that you're working with that gives you exercises on how to get through certain things, right? So I'm not sitting here trying to diagnose anyone. I'm talking about anxiety in general. It can be different for both people types. However, nonetheless, you still will suffer from anxieties when you're trying to make important decisions. The other thing to take into consideration is, when do you get anxiety? What type of decisions? For most, it's about change. When you're attempting to make change in your life, when you're attempting to make decisions that are going to affect the rest of your life, sometimes people are complacent. And so instead of dealing with the anxieties in a healthy way, working through them and allowing yourself to feel anxious about the situation, but working through it anyway, finding a way to have what is the term? A safe way to make the changes and techniques to get you through the change that you need to make. So, what do I mean by that? What I mean is, when you start getting anxious because there is a decision that needs to be made, and it may be life-altering, maybe a decision about a relationship, maybe a decision about career, maybe a decision about school, going into the military, having a child, anything like that. You may suffer from anxiety in the beginning, and it may be so overwhelming. That it threatens to paralyze you. So again, not diagnosing anyone, we're not talking about that per se. But what we are talking about is how to get past all of that. How do you get past all of that and become steadfast, hold your vision, and make the decision anyway? I like to use bungee jumpers, cliff divers, people that jump out of airplanes as good examples. One could say or argue, but Victoria, those people actually want to jump off. Those people actually want to jump out of an airplane. Those people want to jump into that water. Maybe, possibly not. Possibly not. What if it's their first time? What if they're being egged on? Meaning peer pressure. What if it is something they want to do, but they've never done it before? Don't know what to expect, except perhaps reading about it, watching a YouTube about it, or hearing theory on it, right? Because most of the time, for especially jumping out of airplanes, you probably have to get some kind of theory, because somebody's going to train you on how to do it before you do it. I would think cliff diving as well, and the bungee, they're going to explain to you instructions, do this and don't do that, right? All the do's and don'ts before you let go and get going. But in essence, that doesn't calm or quell your fears. You're still going to have fears. So the difference between a person that moves in fear and a person that's paralyzed by fear, where decisions are concerned, is that one has the fear but does it anyway. So the person that's done the cliff diving, taking a nosedive out of an airplane, or is doing the bungee, which to me, out of all of them, I think that's the most dangerous one. I don't know, I just see the people coming back up and hitting the bridge, right, with their backs. But my point is this: whatever you're trying to do in life, whatever opportunities or life changes that occur in your life, you can embrace the change in a mature way and in a positive way, and find different techniques if you do suffer from anxiety that are going to get you through. What I think that I've learned through my life is that things are scary. Change is scary. Every time I've had a new job, for example, I'm kind of nervous. I don't know what to expect. I don't know if I'm going to like my coworkers. I don't know if I'm going to like the job. I don't know if I'm going to feel a sense of regret that I took the job, which has happened a couple of times, or if I'm going to be received really well and it's going to go fine. But do you understand that inner talk that just happened right now? I already talked myself into a possibility that things can go wrong. So we can do that to the point to where we paralyze ourselves. We can paralyze ourselves and do absolutely nothing. Nada, zilch, zip, zero. Nothing. And that's just so horrible. That's just so bad, because for all you know, you could be missing out on the best thing ever, on the time of your life, on the best change that's going to bring about, let's say if you want financial freedom, it can bring you financial freedom that you've possibly been hoping for all along, but you won't take the opportunity because, again, you're paralyzed with fear. And what is the fear? The unknowns, the question marks that are all around us. Have you ever seen the Riddler? Right, the Riddler. It's just question mark everywhere. Here on earth, sometimes some of life can be uncertain. Until we get into that new rhythm and flow, of course there's question marks all over. Of course there's going to be doubts or unsureties, right? Uncertainty. But as you go into it, just like with anything else that you've started in your life, once upon a time, even kindergarten, I'm sure, for some of us, was daunting. And then you go from that to 5th grade, and you're the top dog in the school. And then you're pushed into middle school, and all of a sudden you start all over again. You have to, prove yourself, so to speak, to your peers. Because that's just the way it is, right? And then you go from middle school into high school, or high school, like some of the kids say. I'm in high school. And all over again, you've got to start. The wheel starts all over again. and you're the guppy, and all of a sudden you've got to be around the big fish on campus, all the, the jocks, or the, the geeks, as we call them, our brainiacs that we love so much, and you got to start again with your proving ground. So yeah, all of the cycles of life, and then going into mature, into adulthood, and then into mature adulthood. So every milestone that you hit in life, you're going to have cycles of a new beginning of some sort, whether you realize you're going through it or not. Then there comes either the decision of going to university, going to college, or going to university, or getting married, or going into the military, or whatever. Starting your first real job, whatever. So all these cycles, whether you realize them or not, are bringing about changes and new beginnings. And those new beginnings are opportunities. And those opportunities you've taken or decided to take because you knew that they were what you wanted to do, or they were good for you, or you wanted to try it, or you were ready to go in that direction. So take from this conversation all of the things that you've done or are about to do that you signed up for and said, yeah, I can do that, or yeah, I'd like to do that. What is the difference between those that you do so on autopilot, and you don't even give them a second thought? You just jump in. You just do it because you feel like this is the thing that I need to be doing for myself. If I want to earn a particular amount of money or go into a particular industry, then I'm going to go to college or university and study this. If I want to go into construction, I may not have to go to college. I could just go apply to an apprentice job and then go from there. I mean, you know what to do, right? That's my point. You know what to do to get yourself going in that direction. I want to go to Harvard. Okay, well, what do you have to do? Entrance exam, be accepted. Are you on a scholarship? Do you have to pay tuition? We go through the motion of what we need to get done prior to getting there, our ready work. So the difference is these are autopilot. They feel safe to you. That's the difference. These feel safe to you. For some reason, the others, although they could prove to be as equally, if not more so, of an opportunity and a bigger possibility of success, we at times, through anxiety, paralyze ourselves. Through fear and anxiety, we paralyze ourselves to the point of we can't move forward. We can't move forward. So, again, I'm not a psychologist, but two things are happening here. Either your anxiety is to the point to where I would recommend, again, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, but if things paralyze you that you very well could take a great amount of success and happiness from, but it paralyzes you to the point of not being able to do it, then I say you may have to see someone. You may have to get medication. You may have to get counseling on that. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Especially in the day and age that we live in, there is nothing wrong with seeing a professional and having a talk through about it, and seeing why it is that you can't seem to get off of that plateau you've put yourself on. I'm going to give you an example on a personal level. For me, when I was 15, I auditioned for a band, and I got the gig. That was the good part. My social anxiety didn't, for whatever reason, it didn't affect me. I have a clinical, my hair just looks really weird to me. I have a clinical diagnosis of social anxiety. prevents me from doing certain things. That's why I'm bringing up this topic, so that you know that I'm not being biased and I'm not being particular. My heart goes out to the people that actually do have anxiety, diagnosed or otherwise. So I got the gig and everything was fine. But for whatever reason, I sing better with a band, even though, I can do solo. I haven't sang in years, guys, professionally, that is, but nonetheless. So I got the gig, and everything went fine. Everything went swimmingly. My voice was fine. I never had an issue at all. I've disclosed in another video that I've been singing, I had been singing in choir since I was about 8 years old. So then I went on to also sing in junior choir, which was in San Antonio, Texas, at SAC, as we know it, San Antonio Alamo Community College. And I was in choir there as well. So I'm okay when it comes to group settings. When I'm in a group setting, I excel, and I can sing and belt out in church. When I was, strictly a Christian, I could sing and people would stop singing and just listen to me because I felt fine and dandy singing with other people around me, right? When I'm doing solo, a cappella, etc., karaoke, OMG, that's another beast altogether. So in my instance, my voice cracks. The first two songs, or at least the first song, my voice cracks because my anxiety is off the hook to the point to where it takes over. It takes over. So the point I'm trying to make is, it's okay to have anxiety. We all have it at different levels, at different times. Some of us have a more extreme bout of it, and that's okay. But when it's not okay, or what is not okay, is allowing it to rob you of beautiful things that you could do with your life, allowing it to rob you of beautiful experiences that you could have in life. So in essence, why I brought up all the other talk is because those have been safe, very safe. They give you no anxiety because for the most part, they don't really challenge you. It's not a challenge. It's like, yeah, I could go to college. Yeah, I'll go to university. Yeah. But it's like, maybe it doesn't make your heart sing. Maybe it doesn't make you have butterflies in your tummy. Maybe it doesn't, make you feel excited for life, right? So that's the problem. That's what I'm talking about. The kind of opportunities that come your way that you feel are so risque, you will not take the opportunity because it causes you extreme opportunity, mind overload, explosion of the mind, to the point to where you're like, no, I can't do it. And then this is the issue though. This is what I have found in the last 30 years of counseling people. You don't say, oh God, I can't do that. No. And then you ignore it and end the story. No. How you know you should take an opportunity is because the same thoughts keep coming back. You get the same thoughts coming back. God, it would be so nice if only I could. God, it'd be so nice if only I would. God, it would be so nice if only they were. God, it would be so nice to do this or that. God, it would be so nice to have this or that. When those thoughts keep coming back and replaying and keep on taxing your mind to the point to where you have to think, rethink, etc., that's when you know that you're missing out on something that you probably should take the opportunity to to at least try it and see how it's going to work out, because that way you don't have regrets at a later time when you're older and gray and can't even do it anyway. So, yeah, my voice cracks. I want to cry because anxiety is really real, you know. It's hard. I always say this about mental health disorders. You look at my arm, if it's in a cast, you know it's broken. If I have a heart monitor on, you know there's something wrong with my heart. If I have kidney disease in stage, then I go to dialysis, and you know that they're going to detox my blood for me, because you see that I'm hooked up to machines, and I have some kind of apparatus through my body where the machine has to be hooked into. But when it comes to mental health disorders, it's invisible. I'm going to say that again. When it comes to mental health disorders, the majority of the disorders, to the level or degree in which people have them, are mostly invisible. Because you're so high functioning, people could never, ever, I mean, look at me, I'm on YouTube, could never in a million years guess that you suffer from a mental health disorder. And this mental disorder in particular is, you know, a thing of the mind. It's not a diseased brain, so it's not like you have some kind of diseased brain. It's just, I can't even express it. You just become so nervous and so anxious that you don't know if you can continue with the task or with the issue at hand. So I hear you, and I get you. But I'm sorry, I'm an emotional being. And I was born an empath. But I do know that the memories of having modeled, the memories of having been in a band, the memories of having been in a choir, the memories of singing in church like nobody was listening, because I knew I was singing to my Creator, and it didn't matter to me whether people could hear me or not. Those moments were my shining moments past the diagnoses, past the anxiety keeping me small. So I'm just here to give you a different type of mindset, hopefully. When we change our mindset, I mean, we can do miraculous things that we wouldn't otherwise think we could do, because our mind keeps us small as it closes us off to opportunities. We have to experience life to the fullest in the life we're living, because in this lifetime you only have one life to live. So if you don't take the opportunities when life presents them, as I always like to tell my clients, the universe, the way it works is, imagine a lazy Susan. If you understand what a lazy Susan is, it's a round circular thing, usually placed in the middle of a table, and there's a company of people all around the table, and each one gets to turn the lazy Susan a little bit so they can grab whatever's on the table, whatever entrees are there or appetizers that they would like to take from life, and then the next person does it the very same thing. So the thing is, the universe is much like a lazy Susan. It puts all of these beautiful opportunities on the lazy Susan, and the lazy Susan is turning and it's coming towards you. But when you get so afraid, when you become so filled with anxiety of the what ifs. Because remember what the brain does when it has a disorder like that is it keeps us trapped. Keeps us trapped on the no, that's too scary. No, there's danger. And some sense of that is healthy. But when I'm talking about the extremes, when it comes to extremism of no, I can't do that, that's too scary. No, I won't try that, that's too scary. No, I shouldn't do that. No, that's going to go way wrong. How do you know that? If you didn't try it? How do you know that? Now, if someone comes, into the comments and says, but Victoria Violet, I'm happy, I'm contented with my life. Well then, baby, I'm not talking to your kind. I'm very happy you're happy. That's the whole gist of my conversation, is being happy, trying whatever it is in life that you want to try out, and then going. Look, currently I can't drive a motorcycle very well. So suffice to say, I was briefly taught how to ride a motorcycle in 1996. I was taught how to ride a motorcycle. I was given a couple of pointers. Those pointers were not good enough, and I should have gone to motorcycle school because I love motorcycles. I mean, I don't know what it is. I guess I just like speed, honestly. Having lived in Germany, having, been able at the age of 19, having been able to drive on the Autobahn until I was 21. You think I'm not going to have a lead foot? You think I'm not going to have, be a speed demon? My kids used to call me Speed Racer because I love driving fast. No, I wasn't driving that way when they were with me, but I mean, I've done crazy things like thrown newspapers for 4 years. So did I have to, go 20 miles an hour, which looked to them like I was going fast because I was grabbing the paper, throwing it out the window? It's just perspective. It's perspective. But nonetheless, I digress. What I'm trying to say is, so the person that taught me how to ride a motorcycle didn't teach me very well. I wasn't very well trained. So literally what happens the first time that I have a passenger with me is I literally popped a wheelie. I'm going to say that again. I popped a wheelie. I've popped a wheelie on a bicycle before, but I had never popped a wheelie on a motorcycle before. I first yelled out, you know how we girls, shriek. But then I brought the motorcycle back under control. So suffice to say, I could have allowed that occasion to scare the crap out of me to the point to where I was like, no. See, danger. See, common sense. See, I'll never do that again. Do you know that it just made me want to learn more? And fast forward to 2015. I was telling my eldest child that I wanted to get a motorcycle, that I wanted a crotch rocket, but I have a bad back. I have an injury to my back, so he was like, that's probably not the best thing for you. In general, you shouldn't even be on a motorcycle. And I'm like, gosh, don't even say that to me. So again, peer pressure, again, being talked out of whatever you want to do in life. It creates fear. People talking like that, out of concern, perhaps at times, it can cause fear and anxiety to the point to where you can talk yourself out of doing things. So then what's the proper thing for me to do if I'm fearing something? Well, the proper thing would be for me to look into motorcycles. I think it's the 250cc to a little bit bigger than that I can have, that's within my control, because I'm a small person, believe it or not. You're seeing me up close and personal, but I'm only 5'5", And so I need to be able to touch the ground correctly, and I need to be able to have, enough upper body strength to control the motorcycle. And also, I need to go to motorcycle driving school. Hello? Just because I can pop a wheelie doesn't mean I want to. So again, looking into possibilities, looking into, okay, why won't it work, but why will it work? Have you made a pros and cons list? Again, I'm always talking about this, but it never gets old for me, because it's the most used technique, and it's the most, for me, it's the most commonsensical one. And the reason it's commonsensical for me is because when you're looking at one column, which is the pros, the second column, which is all the cons, the pros being for, the cons being against, whatever you're trying to do, well, shit, they're in black and white. It's stark reality right in front of you. And if you come out with more cons, okay, then I give you that. If it's really not for you, then it's really not for you. But my whole reason behind this conversation is because I know, because I've been there, done that. Talking myself out of things that I really wish I would have done. Talking myself out of situations that, that would have brought me a lot more happiness, a lot more money, financial freedom, early retirement, etc. But I talked myself out of them. We shouldn't do those things to ourselves. But again, I'm the voice of reason, but I'm not your free will. So we always have free will, and free will has to take precedence over everything. But again, back to the list. If you see that you have more negatives, more cons against whatever you're wanting to do, I still would like for you to go and reread it at least 3 times and ensure that those are not your fears that you wrote down, and anxieties. Because let me see, let me go back to the motorcycle thing. Okay, I've always wanted to buy a motorcycle, and eventually I will. So, okay, motorcycle. Should I buy a crotch rocket? Sorry, that's what I call them. Or should I buy a basic one? Okay. Should I, what weight? Again, what size motorcycle? What color do I want? Do I really need a motorcycle? Okay, so then I guess, how often would I use a motorcycle? How often could I use a motorcycle, depending on where I live? How fast can I go? Are there extreme speed limits to where it's not even worth having a motorcycle? Am I getting a motorcycle for the right reasons? Because I really love motorcycles. Am I getting a motorcycle and I can't even stand being outside in the heat? I'm one of those. Because of a heat injury. Does it rain more often than not where I live? Does it snow more often than not where I live? Does it ice over more often than not where I live? All of those. Okay, then I'm going to have to look at those that are commonsensical. Has nothing to do with fear. Has nothing to do with anxieties. It has everything to do with common sense, logic. So once the logic is there, okay, then maybe I am not well equipped to get a motorcycle. Why? Because if I am in a place that snows that snows all the time, or at least half of the year, or if half of the year is iced over, or if half of the year, or even through the whole year, it tends to rain an awful lot, well then when would I use the motorcycle? And then you got to take expense into consideration. I'm gonna go buy a $25,000 or $50,000 motorcycle, and I'm only gonna be able to use it ever so often. How does that make sense? You understand? That's logic. That has nothing to do with fear, guys. Nothing to do with fear, and everything to do with logic. Okay? So again, I hope this helps somebody out there when you're trying to make life decisions and choices, and when opportunities knock. You know, sometimes you've got to open the door and say hello. You've got to embrace them, because they may not be put back on that lazy Susan again, whether it's career, whether it's financial, whether it's marriage, whether it's a relationship, whatever it is, buying a house, whatever. Any major things that come your way are worth exploring, because the lazy Susan of the universe may not have them on the menu again. Why? Because the lazy Susan, the way the universe works is you say, no, thank you. Okay. Then the lazy Susan turns to the next person, and that person may go, ooh, the last meatball. Awesome. I'm getting that lamb meatball. Delish. That's the way the universe works. You know, the first one, first serve. But if you don't want it, no problem, man. I turn it around and somebody else sitting, waiting on that lazy Susan to bring them something nice, something glorious, something magnificent, spectacular. Just hit it big time. Such is life. All right, well, I'll get off my soapbox. Thank you for sharing this time and space with me, and I hope this helps somebody out there who is either in the process of making a decision, has to make a decision, wants to make a decision, or perhaps you don't have the best techniques yet set in your life on how to make decisions that are of great importance to you. Much love and light. Victoria Violet. Till we meet again, friends. Till we meet again. Bye.